Sometimes we seem to forget that there is a blessing in doing it God's way. And many might not really understand what's going on right now and a lot of things because, there is a lot going on in the world today. What is it, March 2026? And the day is Monday, March the 9th, 2026. And I just want to say that there's a blessing in doing things God's way. We have got so modernized and out of focus that we don't tend to do things God's way when it comes to relationships. We tend to do things our way according to how we think, feel, and see. And then again, with the advent of social media, that helps to harm us in the area of relationships because if you look at a lot of people don't know that your dating market is those of the opposite sex, where you work at, where you grocery shop at, the stores that you go to, the neighborhood that you live in, the areas that you are affiliated with on a daily basis. That is your first dating market. Not another city, not another state, not another country. That is not your first dating market. You're not bound by your first dating market. But I'm just saying that to show that we can really get off focus when it comes to how relationships and dating was always meant to be. Because the way things are today, I'm going to say in the beginning, it was not so. But with the advent of social media, it has broadened the horizon. You're able to see and to search after, to seek folks on dating apps all over the country and all over the world. And so it also leads to more promiscuity. It also leads to more ways of flaunting what you got and who you are, speaking directly to women. So it definitely opens up the avenue of women being able to capitalize on it way more than men. And so it's not a shot at women rather, but it's just the reality that with the advent of social media, the dating market is open, wide open, and relationships, the way they were meant to be in a big way, have lost their focus. But in the beginning, it was not so. We got so many men, and I know that my conversation mostly right about now, you'll probably be able to pull out who certain topics are aimed at when it comes to black men and black women in our culture. And then when I speak on those that are not even within inside of our culture, right? And so as I used the term in the beginning, it was not so. The dating market has widened. Now we're seeing more women with women. We're seeing more men in the poly type polygamy and having several women, several wives, all living in the same house together. And that's utter madness, but hey, it is what it is. We're seeing more men with men, more women with women. I remember when I used to go to the dating house, I used to love to go out and hang out at the clubs and the party and stuff like that. Because I always was a people watcher. I didn't really go and do a bunch of dancing and stuff. But I was a people watcher and I enjoyed myself. And everywhere I went, people knew me because I come from the era of the nightclub. I used to manage a nightclub back in the day, back in like '08, '09, '10, like that. And so, yeah, that's a whole nother subject, but not anymore. I got out the dating market around 20, well, the party scene market. I mean, like nightclubbing and that stuff. I actually didn't stop clubbing and going out to around 2019. I went off and on over the years, but 2019 is when I really like let that lifestyle go. Yeah, around the 2019. And I noticed that No matter what club I went to, what nightclub I went to, what event I went to where there was always men and women there, you would see 100 men as an example, and you would see, let's say, 100 women. Most of the time, it's kind of backwards because there are more women than men here, right? But there are more. When you go out, you're going to see more men than women, depending on where you go. And I went to clubs all over, and I used to see the women dancing with the women. I'm like, all these men in here, all these men in this place, and the women are dancing with women? Something is off. And then women go out to the clubs, dress up, look pretty, put themselves together, spend hours in the mirror just to go to the nightclub and reject men. Make it make sense? And reject men. And we're speaking in the age bracket. Let's stay between 35 and under, because in your 20s and your early 30s, people still do go out to clubs and, stuff like that, bars and, parties and get-togethers. But yeah, but in the beginning, it was not like that. And we have gotten so modernized that we tend to not want to do what will bring the blessing. We don't want to do what bring the blessing. We want to go out and make the blessing happen. And that's how we end up with so many broken relationships, broken homes. That's not the only thing. We're not going to get all off into the government's part in it. Not today. We're going to get off into the accountability part of it, where we're all accountable for our actions and the lives we live. And, right now we're in the baby for the last 50 years, 40, 50 years, a high increase in the baby mama, baby daddy era and syndrome. And I'm going to be touching on so many things on this platform about relationships. But today I want to let you know that there is a blessing in doing things God's way. There's always a blessing in doing it God's way when it comes to relationship, right? If we think about scripture, the Bible, the book of Genesis, our first known relationship happened between Adam and God. Now, isn't it funny how that when God put Adam to sleep, he took one of his ribs and he made woman out of man? So women come from men, but women are used to birth men and women. That's deep. And so God did not take from Adam's rib and make women with the S. He made one woman. So I believe that we can say, it's fair to say that in actuality, God always wanted it to be the man and the woman, not the man and a bunch of women or a woman and a bunch of men. But mostly men are good at that, having a whole bunch of women, right? And I'm going to touch on so many things on these platforms when it comes to that. But in the beginning, it was not so. All things are easy to be kind of like, seen and understood if you allow yourself to see it from a scriptural point of view. And I decided to start my first video out on relationships on this platform, straight talk, unfiltered, no holds barred. And I meant exactly what that say on this platform, right? On this podcast here that starts off right here. And I'll give you the YouTube version as soon as I'm ready for it, right? But relationships work out better when we do things God's way. And I'm going to go and dive into that a little more and give a little more insight into it. And we all can pitch in on our experiences in relationships and, watching our mom, our dad, our family members as we were growing up and their relationships and how things were done when we were kids and what we had a chance to see and to watch. And I'm going to touch on so many things, and if you coincide, if you believe what I say, if you understand it, you with it, let me know. If not, let me know.